I'm down in Walkaround today. Isn't she pretty? As the towns go, Walkaround is lovely. And I'm going to tell you what's great about my Rover while I drive it around Walkaround. A delightful coastal town in Ceredigion, a Welsh county you've probably never heard of. But this seems an apt time to talk about the Rover and the fact that I bought this car for £375 back in July and have since done over 4,000 miles in it, which is quite a lot. Just turn around here, I think. So Walkaround really is very pretty. I came down here to meet a printer, a fantastic printer. I may have to come down and take some video inside the place. It's ramshackle, it's full of boxes of old paper that probably decades old. They seem the ideal people to be printing the Hubnut calendar. So yes, that is going to become a thing. Once I've got them in stock, I'll have them on the shop. And so technically it was a business meeting that saw me come down here, walk around on the seafront and eat ice cream. Very tasty. None of which is to do with the Rover at all. So how has it been with the Rover? I mean, it's been really quite good. This must go down as one of my better purchases. Total expenditure is probably about, I don't know, 100 quid I think I've spent on various service items. And that's been it. I mean, the spark plugs were quite expensive, and there's 6 of them. They're iridium, and okay, changing the spark plugs was not much fun. That's a job you do every 60,000 miles. Changing the timing belt is not fun, but the previous owner did that just before he sold it me. So thanks, Richard. Very good of him. So otherwise, I've just been putting lots and lots of fuel in it. An awful lot. It is averaging 30 mpg. 30 mpg is not the best. For a 2-litre engine, that's positively poor, really. My Honda SMX could do 32, and that had the aerodynamics of a wardrobe. So I'm not entirely sure why the Rover is so terrible on fuel. But the fact that it revs to 7,000 RPM very willingly could well be one of the reasons. But I just like it. It is the wafting car. It's not superb at wafting, to be honest, and I apologise for the sunlight. There is a distinct lack of torque, and Mrs. Hubnut found this an issue when she was driving it back. Sorry, let me shut that screen. When she was driving it back on our last trip away, because I just put my foot down until it revs like crazy, and then you accelerate, like so. Firstly, the 60 times go, that's appalling, but who cares when it sounds that nice. It amuses me that you can get this engine in the 75, which is a bigger, heavier car. That does not sound like a recipe for fun, so maybe don't do that. But I don't want a V6 for performance, I want it for the noise, and it sounds lovely. It sounds lovely a lot of the time, whether it's working hard or just growling smoothly at lower revs. Yeah, I like it a lot. There are a few issues. The ergonomics annoy me because the Windows switch for this window is here on the door, nice sensible place. The one for the passenger window is on the center console down here, all on its own. So you can't open both front windows with one hand. I'm surprised how much I missed that. I would like cruise control as well, and I think the Connoisseur had it, but the Connoisseur also had leather, and I prefer this Neptune velour. I think this is, yeah, these seats are lovely. They're heated, they're quite adjustable. I find them comfortable. The backache does set in after a few hours, but that's frankly true of any seat, apart from possibly those in the Mercedes W124. Sorry, it's only a 40 speed limit this time. Another slight issue is its tendency to, oh there we go, there's the 60. Just enjoy that. Yeah, it does have a tendency to tramline. I don't know if that's because the suspension geometry wasn't really set for that much weight of engine, and perhaps it's got a slightly wider tyre on it, but I've never had any car tramline as badly as this one. It's where you feel the car fighting you at times, even when you're driving in a straight line, it just wants to veer off. That can be unsettling. Obviously it doesn't do it all the time, but when it does it, it's quite scary. I don't like that. The brakes aren't brilliant, but I keep meaning to have a good go over those, because it's probably been a while since they were touched. I know it's had new rear pads, but I suspect new fronts wouldn't go amiss, and no one ever changes brake fluid, and that is on the to-do list, and it hasn't happened yet. But I like the weight of the steering. It could perhaps be a touch more direct, but maybe that would make the tramlining even worse. It's not a car you really want to punt into a bend. It does roll a bit, and it just feels a bit comfortable for that sort of behaviour, but that's fine. You can maintain a good pace easily enough, and I have been for about 4,000 miles. I mean, really, I would prefer the hatchback. I'm quite annoyed that we didn't get the V6 hatchback in the UK. Apparently they did in the Netherlands. Lucky Dutch. I just prefer it. It's a little bit shorter. You get a rear wiper, and a hatchback adds an extra dose of practicality. It's not a bad gearbox. 5-speed Jatco unit. It isn't always the smoothest. It can be a bit reluctant to do a double kick down, which leaves the engine, you're going up a hill, and it's just, even when your foot's right down, it doesn't want to know until you knock it into sport mode, and then it's 7,000 revs and all of the fun. The gearbox it feels like it's designed for an engine with more torque. This just doesn't have vast amounts of the stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just like it as a package. It suits me. It's a nice size. It's still got a pretty big boot, to be fair. We've had some pretty big stuff in the back. Done tip runs in it, no problem at all. Wind noise, I mean, I've got a window open at the moment and a sunroof, but it can be a little noisy. The sunroof also doesn't go back. It'd be quite nice to have it back on a day like today. But yeah, I'm not going to complain at 375 quid. The fundamentals are, this is a very sound car. And while it's slightly at odds with the hippie in me that wants to save the world and drive something more economical, there's also a part of me that goes, well, in the future we might not be able to drive cars like this. So I'm going to enjoy it while I can, and very much am. But I'm not sure I've really done a detailed walk around this car before. So we shall do that when I get home and rediscover my little windproof microphone, etc. Stay tuned. At the risk of destroying continuity, I don't care for continuity. Hubnut doesn't do continuity. I should also mention the fact I love the air conditioning. That was one expense that was well worth it. It makes a huge difference on trips. If you're driving at motorway speeds on a hot day, and also to deal with damp on cold, horrible, wet days. It's yeah, I've loved having air conditioning, and to think I've got heated seats, air conditioning on a 375 quid car. It's utterly marvellous, and the MOT's not up till March, so it's brilliant. Every bit of kit on this car still works. We had a slight issue where the airbag light was coming on, but fiddling with a connector under this seat seems to have sorted that out. So otherwise it's been fine. Right, so let's have a closer look at this car. First of all, what is the Rover 45? Well, let's start with a bit of history. The first vehicle developed jointly between Honda and British Leyland, as it was then, was the Triumph Acclaim, and that led next to the Rover SD3, the first of the Rover 200s. Triumph had been killed off as a brand name, so they had to come up with something else, and Rover was kind of all that was left of British Leyland, other than Land Rover, sort of a separate company, Jaguar, which was floated off in 1984, and a few other bits. The MG brand was dormant for a bit and then came back, but let's not confuse ourselves. The third generation Rover Honda was the 200-400, launched in 1989, and Rover had quite a lot of input on that car, developed its own K-series engine for it. That car was subsequently replaced by the Rover 400 HHR in 1995, and then in about 99, I think, it was facelifted into the 45 with the quad headlamps meant to look like those on the Rover 75, but really it is just a facelift. The interesting aspect is the saloon part of this car, because bizarrely the Honda this car is based on was the Domani, which was a saloon, but a really ungainly one. See this picture here, that's pretty awful. So it was redeveloped into a hatchback, shorter back end, and also sold as a Civic in that guise. But then Rover developed their own saloon based on the hatchback. So it went from saloon to hatchback to saloon. And this quite smart rear end was the result. Let's go and take a peek inside. So there is my wonderful Neptune velour. It's coming away a bit on the door cards, so you can't actually rest your arm on there because it gets forced off by the fact it's not really attached. But hey, that's fine. That's it's all a bit mucky in here because I've been living in here for 4,000 miles. But when it comes to the controls, we've got the original radio, CD player. CD player does work, I just keep forgetting to put CDs in it. Heated seats, air conditioning. The noisiest little power adapter in the world, when I plug that in, the radio doesn't work, which is nice. The gearbox down here, which AET, automatic electronic transmission. Who knows what that stands for? But 5-speed unit. And here is, excuse this mess, the that's the passenger window switch, and over there is the driver's window switch. Not very logical, but we've got buttons for the stereo under here. The columns stalks were used throughout. They first appeared on the, I think they were used in the SD3 actually. Nice clear concise gauges, not an awful lot there. And electric mirrors, that makes it start in second or third gear on wintry days to try and reduce wheel spin. Electric mirrors, headlamp adjusters, voila. One thing I will say is annoying is these controls here, especially when Mrs. Hubnut was driving. She found that these are best accessed with the door open. That's not great design, and nor is the lumbar support, which you might be able to see under there. Now the gimbal's getting mightily confused now. So yeah, the lumbar adjustment is underneath the front of the seat, which is not very clever. Right, I'll give you a peek at the bonnet again. So there we go. I keep on getting told that there's a lovely badge beneath the protective layer, but yeah, I'm not sure that's really improved all that much, to be honest. But there is the KV6 engine. So this was Rover's own engine. It's not a Honda engine. When Rover were looking for more independence from Honda, they developed their own KV6. So after the BMW takeover, Honda less keen to keep going with the joint development, so Rover developed its own. And in the Rover 800s it was hideously unreliable because it was practically a hand-built engine. but I'm pleased to say this one seems all right. Right, let's get back behind the wheel. Well, that's it for the Rover. I think it'll be staying on the fleet a while yet, so I should say thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I shall see you in a future video. Oh, should we just do it? Too much fun!